Starting chapter 7, you are solving systems of equations. What a system basically means is you have two or more equations. So if you are solving systems, a system is two or more, and it's only going to be two in this chapter, two or more equations. So we are going to solve these systems by graphing. So what you're going to do in section 1 is graph two lines. Graph two lines. And find where they cross. Graph two lines, find where they cross. This is your answer. It's an ordered pair, x, y, so it might be 3, 2. It might be the point 3, 2. That's where the two lines cross. That's going to be your answer for most of the chapter. Where do the two lines cross? So we know how to graph one line. All you got to do is graph two of them, and your calculator will tell you where the two lines intersect. That's why you all need to have calculators today. So we'll just go through and do some examples. If you have any questions, we can answer those. So we got our graph. You are going to be required to graph. However, like always, your calculator will do most of the difficult stuff for you. We'll solve one where they're already solved for y. Y equals 3x minus 12. And so there's going to be two equations here. Y equals negative 2x plus 3. So we have two equations. All we have to do is graph them and find out where they cross. Find out the point of intersection. So you would need your calculator. And since those are already solved for y, they're easy. All you got to do is put them in there. So we hit y equals. By the way, this is another thing I need to cover with you guys. As far as your table goes, or your window key right there next to y equals, I will no longer come around and tell you every other day how to reset your window. You are responsible to know how to do that. You're responsible to know how to get it to the y equals screen. You're responsible to know how to set up the table to where it gives you the right points. That's all on you guys. So if you're in the middle of a test and you don't know how to do that, I'm not going to help you. You will also not be allowed to go up and get another calculator that might be set up correctly already. So one more time, I will show you, and this will be it, to set up your window, because you're normally going to want it to go 10 each direction. When you hit your graph, that's what you want to see. So to set up your window, you hit the window key right next to your y equals key. So if you hit that, your shade res, that should always be 3. You should never have to mess with that. The minimums, you have x min, down below you have y min. Those should both be negative 10. Minimums should be negative 10. One of mine says negative 19. So somebody's clearly changed that. So you need to know how to change that back. Your maximums, your x max and your y max should be positive 10. One of mine is 1. And your SCL, your x scale, and your y scale should both be 1s. Most of that was screwed up on this calculator. So if you don't know how to change that, you're going to be in trouble if you would have been using this one. Any questions on how to change that window? The other thing is setting up the table. It's the same key, window key, but you have to hit second first. So second window will take you to table setup. You want your table to start at -2 or 0, doesn't really matter. Just that's the first value that's going to show up there. -2 is probably a good place to put that. And the triangle table, that means change in the table. You want that to go by 1s for the most part. Most of the time, that's what you're going to want. So that's how you set that up. If you hit your table button and you got a bunch of crazy decimals or numbers up in the hundreds, then you want to set up your table to push it back to start at -2 instead of 5,000. People go in and screw them up. So those things you will have to know on your own. So back to y equals, which 3x minus 12 in there. And we also put -2x plus 3. Must have both of those in there. Another thing I will not tell you. Sometimes people turn those plots on. And so consequently, when you hit graph, it won't do anything. And you raise your hand and want me to tell you. If any of those plots are the reason, I'm not even going to tell you why. You can't have those plots highlighted at the top. If you use your arrow key and go up there, highlight plot 1, push enter, it's going to turn it to where it's highlighted. So if you see that highlighted, that should be the first thing you do is go up there and push enter again, where it is no longer highlighted. So if your calculator will not graph for you, that's probably the reason. Anyway, we got them both in there. So we hit our graph key, and we should have 2 lines graphed on there. So what is our answer? What do we have to find on all these problems? Where are the 2 lines crossed? I am seeing probably 50% of you paying very little to no attention. That's fine, but just know what's going to happen. You have got to wake up, get going on this if you want to have any possible chance of passing. Yes, where are the 2 lines crossed? That's what we're looking for. So we've got to graph them both on here. And if you look on there, you can get a guess. You can get pretty close maybe. Like 3, -3 might be where it's crossing. It's crossing somewhere down here. But your calculator will tell you exactly where it's crossing. But what we want to do first is sketch our graph. So if we hit second table, that will bring up our table and show us all the points that we can plot on here. So for your first line, it might be helpful for some of you to use colored pencils if you choose to. 1, -9, 2, -6 is on there. 4, 0 is on there. 3, -3 is on there. So you got 3 points. That's plenty to sketch that first line. You will have to do that on your homework. You will have to get points out of your calculator. Or you can graph them without, it doesn't matter. So for the second line using your table, 2, -1 is a point listed. 3, -3 is also on there, so you can tell for sure that is where the 2 lines cross. And 4, -5 is on there. So by graphing those 2 lines, you can tell that 3, -3 is in fact your answer. So you will have to graph both lines to see where the 2 lines cross. Now, go back to your graph. I will tell you how to get your calculator to tell you that answer. So hit your graph key just to get your fresh graph screen up there. You should have shades. It should say shades over on the left-hand bottom part of the screen. And then what's it say right next to shades? Your letters. POI. What do you think that stands for? Point of intersection. Point of intersection. Very good. So you want that POI. So you need to hit your alpha key and then the zoom key. It's right underneath POI. That's how your calculator knows what you want it to do. So alpha, and it's the zoom key underneath POI, and it comes right up and tells you, right? It tells you right at the bottom that it is 3, -3. Sometimes it will not cross. You will not be able to tell exactly where it crosses on your graph. you'll have to use the calculator. It'll be the only possible way to get your answer. X plus y equals -2. And I would suggest writing them not one on top of the other if they're not already solved. 2x minus 3y equals -9. Two x minus 3y equals -9. So in this problem, you've got an extra step. You've got to solve both of those lines for y. You've got to get the y by itself. So looking here at this red equation, what do we need to move to get the y by itself? X, how do we move the x over? Subtract the x from both sides. So that would give us y equals, what would be the other way to write it? Negative x minus 2 would be even better. So that one's done. You solve for y. What about the green one? Right, the 2x has to be moved first. So we're going to subtract that. So what's left on the left? Negative 3y. Make sure you put negative 3y equals
negative 2x minus 9.
Right. Remember, you can't actually do anything to that. You just rewrite it. Negative 2x minus 9 is y by itself now. Divide by negative 3, everything. So y, positive y, equals, what would you get there with the x? Would it be positive or negative? 2. Positive 2/3 x. And then -9 divided by -3. Would be +3. So you've got them both solved for y. What would we do next then? Your calculator. So we hit our y equals key. Negative x, make sure you use your negative key, not your minus key. Negative x minus 2. And 2/3, I would put 2 divided by 3 in parentheses there. X plus 3. Any questions on getting those typed in? Yeah? Get y equals? Type negative x minus 2. Close. X. Now the maximum should be positive. The scale should be 1. It's positive. Down. That's 1. Yeah, they're going to be screwed up all the time. These kids get it so low. That was negative. Yeah, it needs to be positive. The scale also needs to be 1. Anybody else need help with getting those in there? sometimes, go back to your y equals screen. If you've got a random vertical line on your screen, go back to y equals. And up in the top right hand or left hand corner, there says x equals. You go up there and push enter. And clear that, whatever, if there's a number in there, clear those out. And then go back and up and hit Y, change it back to Y. So we've got them typed in. Now we go to second graph, bring up our table. And for the first line, we have -2, 0. The first line we did in red. What's another point on the first line? Anyone? Anyone? What? Now for the first line, so the first two things there. Well, they should be on the same. But like 1, -3. Right. Those are all points on your line. So 1, -3. Whoops. 1, -3, and what was the other one? 2, -4. Okay, those points are all on there, and then sketch. And then on your second line, so you know how to get those points. You must sell your expertise. So I wouldn't use any ones that are fractions. Use like 3, 5. 3, 5, and let's go the other way so I don't have to go off my graph. Like here, 0, 3 is on there, and -3, 1. Looks like that's probably the point of intersection. I would check, even if it looks like that's the point, I would check it on your calculator, because sometimes your graphs will look like they crosses there, and it's really not quite exactly where it crosses. So now we go back to the graph screen, and how do we get to the point of intersection? Where we put alpha zoom? Alpha zoom. And what's it tell you? Down at the bottom for the x and the y. -3, 3, 1 is the point of intersection. And that is all for the first section. I believe. We will do 8 through 16 even. Do not follow the directions on that second section. Do all of those problems just like the ones we just did on the board. It wants you to check the solution given there. Don't worry about that. Just find the point where they cross. And then we will also do 20 through 30 even. These will be due at the end of the hour, so you'll need to have, looks like about 10 problems or so, graph neatly and show me where the two lines intersect.